so dear to my heart. I'm Elena. I work for the Sanat Entrepreneurship Academy, who's also sponsoring this event. And Sanat Entrepreneurship Academy is on behalf of the Sanat Fund, financing and providing capital for micro, small and medium enterprises. Why is female entrepreneurship so dear to our mission? Because supporting women is a critical tool to eradicate poverty, to create inclusive economic growth and thereby sustainable development. Why do we need to talk about gender-smart financing? Why do we need to redefine investment strategies today? I'd like to have a look at the statistics and let them speak for themselves. If you look at bank ownership, you can see that across the region, I'm afraid the stats show a little differently than they used to be, but what the stats wants to show is that there's a big disparity between men and women having access to finance, which is one of the challenges for female-led enterprises. In Jordan, 35% of the male population have an own bank account, but only 15% of women have an own bank account. If we look for business seed funding, this is a statistic that shows crowdfunding campaigns led by males and by females. We see that the higher the volume gets, the harder it is for women to succeed. So it's a negative inverse trend. For volumes above $100,000, it's 84% of male-led campaigns that are successful, but only 16% of women-led campaigns. The next statistic is business growth capital. Venture capitalists have invested a total of 85 billion USD in new companies. Out of this volume, 80%, 80, went to all male teams, 12% went to mixed gender teams, and 8% to teams where gender wasn't reported. So we can see that there's definitely a lack of access to capital for women-led enterprises. However, research has also found that companies that include and empower women perform better financially. So it's not only a moral and ethical case, it's even a business case. Therefore, we should reconsider our investment strategies and we should integrate gender lenses into our investment decisions. Integrating gender-based factors can be threefold. So investors can decide to deliberately invest in businesses that are women-led, co-founded by women or co-owned by women. You can also invest in companies that ensure workplace equity. What does this mean? So it could be companies that have a certain minimum percentage of women in the board or senior management, or even companies with favorable HR policies such as parental leave. You can also decide to deliberately only invest in companies that design financial products and services that positively affect women. Tonight, I have the big honor to be speaking on gender-smart investment strategies with three experts from the financial industry of Jordan. So let me kindly introduce you to Nadia Al Saeed. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Etihad since 2008. She led the successful launch of the bank's Women Market Program in 2014 under the name of Shuruk. Okay. She also used to be the Minister of Information and Communications Technology. Welcome, Nadia. Thank you so much for being here. On the far left, we have Emile Cubaisy, who's the managing partner at Silicon Badiya, focusing on the Badiya Impact Fund, a venture capital fund that provides early stage and expansion capital to seed early and growth startups in the Middle East. He's also an advisor or director of regional tech companies such as Visita, Ian Dental, and so forth. Welcome. Thank you so much. To my left, we have Bdour Al-Hyari, who is the Director of Strategic Planning and Business Development at Microfund for Women. She developed leading insurance programs and also startup loans for youth and women entrepreneurs. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let me start with my first question. Nadia, what is your institution's approach towards financing women entrepreneurs?
Thank you. Well, as you said, in 2014, the bank launched the first full banking proposition for women, and it was first of kind and one of a kind actually. The program really focused on making sure we do empower women. It covers women entrepreneurs, women professionals, women as even part of the custodians of the household actually, and of course women-led businesses. And since then, the success has been great. Today, about 35% of our clients are women. Actually, our portfolios grew almost sevenfold in different, in all the different actually products and services, loans, deposits, and so on. So basically, focusing on women entrepreneurs, what we have done is that, of course, all our products and services are available for women who deal with us, but we do have specific products. For example, we have collateral-free loans, we have startup loans for women, we have insurance products, actually, that serve the needs of families and of women, and we have savings accounts and savings products. The reason why we believe the program was successful is that we focused on having full financial and non-financial services. I think availing financial services alone is not enough. And that applies really to entrepreneurs at large, women in general, and SMEs. It is equally important to avail non-financial services like mentorship, financial literacy, training, networking opportunities. And the bank also has launched an award. The bank, it's an annual award that has 3 categories. One for a women-led business, one for an entrepreneur, and one for an SME. And it's always a pleasure to see that all of the finalists shortlists include women. And in many cases, actually, women win across the board. And I really think that it's really about understanding the needs of the segment, understanding how can you empower them, and forming the right partnerships that avail enough support.
Thank you so much. Bdour, what is your institution's approach to support female entrepreneurship? Working at Microfund for Women, I'm sure you have a lot to say on that one.
Definitely. I can explain this as a journey because Microfund for Women has been established basically to give the less advantaged women who are unbankable, who can't enjoy the bank services, the opportunity to access to finance by providing her financial and non-financial services and products, loans, trainings, and then adding insurance, etc. So existing basically to serve the woman. And when we started, we offered our services only to women because we wanted this opportunity to be given only to women. However, after doing our research on women and what they need, what's happening on the ground, to avoid that any chance that a man might misuse this opportunity to women and push her to take the loan for his own advantage. So we opened the room for men and women to equally benefit from this opportunity, believing that this is for the woman empowerment as well. And following definitely the holistic approach of woman empowerment, because she will be thinking of her husband, of her son. She's part of a system and a family. Men are around her, so giving the opportunity for her only will make her feeling at a burden to provide this loan to the other members instead of herself. Then, years after years, we were following beneficiary-centric approach, where we're thinking of the woman in every single step we are doing, starting by developing a product, developing the policies and the procedures we are having, thinking of the trainings, the gender dynamics. So every single step we think of the woman and what she needs. We keep asking this question and do the research. Recently, we have been also looking at the data, talking about the digital transformation. We have been following the digital transformation. We have looking at the data to understand what really women needs according to the data that we have. And we started to add KPIs according to the data that we have and its impact. For example, it's important now to distinguish, when talking about women empowerment, to distinguish those who own a business and those who manage and run the business. Because sometimes there are other factors that influence the ownership of or owning the business. So we are adding this information that we take, which applies to the law to follow. So looking at this data and this analytics is something that we are now following to serve women and help in bridging the gender gaps that we find.
Perfect, thank you so much. So coming from data, and data is definitely very powerful, Emile, a question to you. How can technology improve access to capital for female-led businesses?
Okay, first just context. I find it interesting that I'm the first male speaker. Well, I think we should context and probably why this is.
Maybe a round of applause for this.
No, not a paper applause. My journey here to sit on this chair was empowered by my mom, who paid for my education in college. So I wouldn't be here if my mom didn't work and she didn't make things happen. As a reverse cycle, I was given $3 that I can easily see sitting in this audience, which really gives me confidence in the sheet that I have. Oh, the most beautiful thing I see here today is how many young faces are in this audience. It's absolutely brilliant. And when we talk about technology and your role as we look at it in venture capital and the sake of venture capital, and I would come and say that the one thing that technology has enabled all of you to do is to build solutions, because we as a generation left you a million problems so that it's not men alone can fix it. So actually the odds of breaking this glass ceiling that everybody has been speaking about has become a reality, because there are too many problems to fix. And really, if you guys don't collectively, if we don't collectively work together to solve these problems, we're not going to get very far in our economy, in our social development, as a community as a whole. I think there is a I hope somebody heard something of that, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not sure it's that important anyways, but today you're at an inflection point where more than one thing is heading together, and I think your role in the economy is critical, and probably the best thing that you can use technology for is to be heard, not in an individual capacity, in a collective capacity, overwhelm the system, to show presence, overwhelm the system in terms of thinking of solutions of how you can use technology to build, scale, and grow businesses. Leverage the fact that today you have access to a global community, a global audience, a global market, something my mom didn't have when she paid for my college. I'm not going to count the years anymore. Over 30 years ago, okay, probably around 30 years. I think in general, the amount of reach you have today, any one of you can access me today. All right, I'm a click away. I will answer. Every single other investor is a click away. If they don't answer, press the button again. Follow again. Follow again. So I think that if anything, I would say there's two things that you can use technology for. One is to better reach and sell your ideas. And two is to better work together as a network, like with the stuff that FIDA is doing. You can better work together as a network to actually drive change, to create more financing opportunities for yourself. And I'm going to stop here because I don't even think I answered her question.
Thank you so much. You did. Okay, the organizer told me we should speak more loudly in the microphone, so we'll try our best. Nadia, do you have anything to add to the technology question? Because you're so well experienced in that sector, I'd like to have your
Yeah, well, maybe I think now I'm louder, but I think one is that, of course, the digital platforms have made it possible to avail financial services easier and cheaper. And of course, this creates more inclusion, and this is something that would benefit women for sure. Another thing to note probably is that, with the development of scorecards that actually can get data from the digital behavior of people, there is a much better clarity and potential in financial institutions actually granting credit to more people and at scale in a much better way. I also find that technology in itself allows women to work in a domain that makes it possible for them to work from home, to have more flexibility in what they do basically. And I really think that also technology helped a lot in what I mentioned earlier, that is the non-financial services that women need. I mean, technology allows more access to information, easy education, easy training. I didn't mention earlier that part of our non-financial services also, we provide entrepreneur relevant content through Refinitiv, which was Thomson Reuters before, and the level of actually support that this gives to all the women in our network is unbelievable. The only thing maybe that I would say last is that because of all of this, I really feel that what's called STEM girls, or making sure there are enough girls in science and technology and math classes from the beginning is very important, because that in itself becomes the blocking factor. Actually, though technology should be such an enabler, such a facilitator, if they're not well integrated in these areas from the beginning, then you're going to transfer the issues and the problems of the offline world to the online world. Especially that also when you look at what's happening, the importance of DevOps, the importance of coding and creation, you see that these kinds of businesses are actually have a lot of collective learning. And actually what happens is that even men have strong networks in this virtual world, which helps them accelerate what they're doing, which helps them build more on what they're doing. And I hope that this will be solved. It gives me a lot of pain when my daughter goes to a coding class and she's the only girl. So I really think this is something that all parents, all education institutions should focus on, including girls from the beginning.
Thank you so much. Looking at this crowd and seeing so many female entrepreneurs here represented, I have one question to my three experts here. What would be a desirable action plan to support more of these companies? What can we do?
Yes. Though I wanted to say something on technology before. Can I quickly add something? But that in addition to what you all said beautifully about technology, we always stay concerned about that technology, not to talking about inclusion, not to exclude at a certain point and rely on it. So we believe that we should track it gradually. So till to reach the point where we believe that technology is not excluding people, it's including more, make it easy, etc. And I want to talk about a platform that Sanat has also supported Microfund for Women to do, which is called Hawiyati. It's a digital identity economic platform where we are testing on refugees, women in Jordan, Syrian refugees, women in Jordan who are taking the loan with them, this platform where they can, it's on blockchain, and it tracks their credit, their certificates and trainings, because this is something they lack while they are refugees. They move here and there. They need to start all over again everywhere they go and move. So we believe this technology will give them the ownership of what they do, it will be recorded and they have it with them wherever they go. So we're looking forward to the results of this initiative. For the second question, I advise all of you, there are, like it has been said and you have seen it today in the previous panel also, that there are challenges always coming from society, from workplace conditions, from regulations, whatever, there are challenges. But we have two choices, either to have the victim characteristic or the victim. The victim will always look at the excuses, the challenges, but the victim will always seek any small opportunity that would enable her to succeed. And without those people who have been victors in their personalities, we would never have been in this place. It needed a woman in America to say no to the black regulations that was part, it was a law that blacks should give a space in the transportation to the white people. When she said no and it was a woman, then everything changed. So be victors, don't be victims, and best of luck to all of you.
Thank you so much for this encouraging statement. Nadia, is there something you can share with the crowd today, with the audience? Some encouraging words? How do you see the future? What would be your desirable action plan?
Well, I think that in general, the best thing that makes me very optimistic is how much I see there is potential in the young generation. I think this generation is highly enabled. I think the fact that most of you are tech savvy, and the fact that the world moved to a place where it's a lifelong learning and a self-learning journey, really, you don't need anybody to actually get you where you want to be. It's all in your hands. So I really think this is something that gives me a lot of hope. Actually, when I see the women in our institution has close to 50% of women. And if you ask me why, is it because I am a woman? It's more because the institution gives a fair chance to women. Women just need a place where they're not discriminated against. Women need a place that gives them a fair chance, and they know that they are going to be given a fair chance from the beginning of the funnel until the end, and until the actually getting to the top. And I think that the diversity that is created in the life, in the workplace, really is a great. That is actually a great part of our success. In terms of inclusion and entrepreneurship and what's the opportunity there, I think you all know today that in Jordan the percentage of young people is quite high, and you all need to know that you need to work to create your opportunities. And I think the work that has been done in the past few years to improve the entrepreneurial space and to allow you to own your futures is great. And I'm sure that His Excellency also will talk about the work that has been done recently to get the Startup Act on, because supporting the ecosystem and the environment is one of the most important enabling points, if you wish. And I think the work that has been done recently to try and improve the regulation, the company registration, make sure all the enabling legislations to women are there in place, be it enacting the law in terms of making sure that institutions do have daycare for the families, or just the laws that have to do with equal rights, equal pay, equal benefits. I think is setting the tone for all of you to really be able to do something. And I think from what we have been seeing in terms of how young men and women in Jordan have been evolving, and they've been actually growing as entrepreneurs, when you look at it, it gives us great pleasure when you always look at the list of the best 100 startups in the region, and you see that a big percentage of them actually are men and women coming from Jordan. So I really think it's up to you, and I really think that it's how much confidence you have in yourself, how much you believe in your ideas, you believe in yourself, and you actually mandated to those who are in front of you to deal with you fairly as someone who really deserves an equal opportunity.
Thank you so much. Emile, one last statement that you would like to share with the crowd, and then we have room for 1 or 2 questions, so prepare your questions. Okay, questions are for networking, sorry.
Okay, very, very quickly. I mean, the advice that I would have is to engage the different products, the financial products that are out there, and give your feedback. Yani, I think the stuff that Nadia is doing in the bank, the stuff that Microfund for Women are doing, the stuff that Fido is doing, Oasis 500, I just see them over there. I mean, there's a lot of people that are actually trying to create products that work for you, right? And the big challenge that exists today, 95% of the capital that's out there, and unfortunately, is being led or directed by people that don't understand what you need, right? And we're in the midst of a shift in the industry, right? You have people on this panel here, and you have people sitting around here that are designing new products that are catered to help you succeed. Test these products, have the conversations, challenge them, tell them give them real feedback on their products to help them make their products better. Don't ignore the products. Engage with the products and help make these products better. You have a very unique opportunity because people are already building for you. Make them build better. Type 1. 2, where people aren't building better, challenge them to build better, right? And I think it's really, really important. If you're working in a startup, ask the question, why aren't there women on our board of directors? I mean, create a change. Minkum and Hadkum, start to drive this change. Start to create a voice. اللي ما بيخلي الناس just to kind of pass you by or المشكلة اللي عندي إياها, the challenge that I have. Everybody talks about inclusion, but there's a big difference between inclusion and conscious inclusion. You need to teach people what conscious inclusion means, how to think about what you need to get them to deliver it, because they're not going to be able to figure it out on their own. Many are trying to, but they're not going to be able to figure it out on their own. But I'm very optimistic, and that's.
Thank you so much for this fantastic panel. I'm afraid we have to cut it off here, but as I said, there will be room for questions later during networking. And pull your hands together and give them a big round of applause for such